In this video, we will build a form and apply validation rules to make sure the data entered is accurate and complete. Here, we trigger the loadForm function when the user clicks on the form, which dynamically loads and initializes all the form fields for input. We create an ajax.js file to define and execute the loadDoc Ajax function, which dynamically fetches and displays content without reloading the page. Next, we copy the loadDoc Ajax function from W3 schools and paste it into our ajax.js file, enabling asynchronous data loading in our project. Since we already overrode the loadDoc function, we don't need to write it repeatedly. Instead, I created a reusable Ajax call function, where we can pass parameters to execute the Ajax request. You can find the full code on the GitHub link in the description. Now, we import the ajax.js file into our index.jsp page so that we can use the Ajax functions within the JSP. Next, we create the loadForm function in ajax.js. Inside it, we call the reusable Ajax call function and pass parameters such as URL, method, destination, data, and sync flag to dynamically load the form content. Now, we write the controller code to handle the loadForm function. The controller receives the Ajax request, processes it, and sends back the appropriate response or form content to be displayed on the page. Here, we have the loadForm function in our controller. It is mapped to the URL accountmaster.com and listens specifically for requests with the parameter cmd action equals loadForm. When this request is received, the function creates a model and view object for the common view and adds an attribute called process with the value loadForm. This allows the view to know which process to execute, effectively loading the form dynamically. Next, we create the common.jsp file. This JSP acts as a reusable view that can dynamically display different content based on the parameters sent from the controller, such as loading our form when process equals loadForm. In the common.jsp file, we import the JSTL tag library using the taglib directive. This allows us to use JSTL core tags for dynamic content rendering, conditional statements, loops, and other helpful functionalities. Here, we add Tailwind CSS class variables in common.jsp using JSTLC set tags. These variables, which I've shared on GitHub, make it much easier to write and manage Tailwind CSS classes throughout the JSP without repeating long class strings. Here, we create the account form inside common.jsp. The if tag ensures that the form only loads when process equals loadForm. The form includes fields for name and balance, styled using the Tailwind CSS variables we defined earlier, and a submit button to save the account data. The form has been rendered successfully on the page, and it is ready for user input. Next, we create a validate.js file, which will contain all the JavaScript functions for validating form inputs before submission. Here, we define the validate_empty function in validate.js. It takes a field ID and an alert message as parameters. The function checks if the field is empty, shows an alert if it is, focuses on the field, and returns false, otherwise, it returns true. Now, we include the validate.js file in our index.jsp so that all form validation functions are available when the user interacts with the form. Next, we create the insert account data function, which is triggered when the form is submitted. This function will validate the form fields using our validation functions before allowing the form to be submitted. Now, we add the InsertAccountData function code into ajax.js. This function first validates the name and balance fields using validate_empty function. If validation fails, it prevents form submission. Otherwise, it proceeds and shows an alert indicating ready for database operations. That's all for this tutorial. If you found it helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more tutorials and updates. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to get notified of our latest videos.